The rain had been falling since dawn, thin and cold, turning the narrow street into a ribbon of gray sorrow, when she noticed the child standing near the closed bakery with eyes too old for his small face. His clothes clung to his thin frame, his shoes were broken at the seams, and hunger sat on his shoulders like a weight he could not shrug off. In that moment, when the world seemed busy rushing past pain, one quiet act of kindness was about to change two lives forever. Before the story continues, if you believe that kindness still matters in this world and that second chances can change destinies, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. She was a woman shaped by hardship, the kind that teaches you how to endure, but not how to expect miracles. Her days were filled with small routines and careful calculations, stretching little to last a little longer. She lived alone in a small apartment above a closed shop, surviving on work that paid just enough to keep the lights on and food on the table. She knew hunger not as an idea, but as a memory that lingered in the bones. That was why the child's hollow eyes stopped her steps. There was something familiar there, something that mirrored her own past, when kindness had been scarce and hope even scarcer. She did not think of heroism or sacrifice when she walked toward him. She only felt the quiet pull of empathy, the unspoken understanding between two souls who knew what it meant to be invisible. From the small paper bag she carried, she took the food she had saved for herself, still warm, simple, and precious. It was not much, but it was enough to quiet the ache of an empty stomach. She placed it gently in his hands, her movements careful, as if afraid that any sudden motion might break the fragile trust forming between them. She did not ask questions or demand gratitude. She simply gave, and then she walked away, believing it was just another small kindness lost in the endless flow of days. The child ate as if each bite mattered, as if it might be the last kindness he would receive for a long time. When he finished, he stood there for a while, watching her disappear into the rain, committing her face to memory without knowing why. Life did not change overnight for either of them. She returned to her routines, her quiet evenings, and the steady rhythm of survival. The world remained hard, and kindness remained rare. Yet something subtle had shifted, like a seed planted deep beneath the surface, unseen but alive. Years passed, carrying the child through seasons of struggle and uncertainty. He moved through shelters and streets, through classrooms where he felt out of place and jobs that barely held him. There were nights when hunger returned, sharp and unforgiving, and moments when the memory of that warm food and gentle hands felt like a dream too good to be real. But that memory stayed with him, a small light in the darkness, reminding him that someone once saw him, not as a burden or a problem, but as a human being worthy of care. For the woman, time moved quietly. Her hair began to gray, her steps slowed, and the world seemed to shrink around her. She continued to give when she could, offering small kindnesses without expecting anything in return. Life tested her in new ways, bringing illness, loneliness, and the slow realization that she was growing old in a world that rarely noticed. Still, she held on to the belief that kindness mattered, even when it felt like shouting into the wind. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in soft gold, there was a knock at her door. She hesitated, surprised by the interruption to her quiet routine. Visitors were rare, and unexpected ones even rarer. When she opened the door, she saw a man standing there, tall and well-dressed, his posture confident yet heavy with emotion. For a moment, she did not recognize him. He looked at her with eyes that shimmered, searching her face as if trying to find something lost long ago. The recognition came slowly, like a photograph developing in water. Beneath the years, beneath the strength and composure, she saw the child from the rain-soaked street. The same eyes, now filled with tears, carried the weight of a long journey. He had found her after years of searching, driven by a need he could no longer ignore. He had built a life for himself through relentless effort and a refusal to give up, guided by the memory of one woman who had shown him that kindness existed even in the harshest places. He had returned not to repay a debt, but to honor a moment that had saved him in ways he only understood later. That simple act of feeding a hungry child had become his anchor during storms of doubt and despair. It had reminded him that the world was not entirely cruel, that there was room for compassion, even when circumstances were unforgiving. He had carried that lesson into everything he did, choosing to help others whenever he could, believing that kindness, once given, multiplies in ways we cannot predict. As they stood there, time seemed to fold in on itself, connecting past and present in a single, fragile moment. The woman felt a warmth spread through her chest, a quiet confirmation that her small, forgotten act had mattered. She had never known what became of the child, never expected to see him again. Yet here he was, living proof that kindness leaves marks deeper than we realize. Before we reach the end of this story, take a moment to share in the comments why acts of kindness matter to you. Your words may inspire someone else who is watching right now. The man's success had not erased his memories of hardship. Instead, it had sharpened his empathy. He spoke of the years he spent searching for her, driven by gratitude and a need to say thank you in person. He had asked around, followed faint leads, and refused to give up, believing that the woman who fed him deserved to know the impact of her compassion. His tears were not of sadness, but of release, the kind that comes when a long-held emotion finally finds its home. For the woman, this reunion was more than a surprise. It was a reminder that her life, though quiet and uncelebrated, had held profound meaning. She saw in his journey a reflection of her own values, proof that goodness does not vanish when given freely. It transforms, travels, and returns in unexpected ways. In that moment, her loneliness softened, replaced by a deep sense of connection and purpose. As the evening deepened, the world outside faded into silence, leaving them wrapped in a shared understanding that transcended words. The rain from years ago felt distant now, replaced by the warmth of gratitude and the gentle glow of hope. The child she once fed had become a man who carried kindness forward, creating ripples she would never fully see, but could now feel in her heart. If this story touched you, if it reminded you of the power of a single kind act, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and leave a comment below. Your engagement helps spread messages of hope and compassion to others who may be searching for light. The man left that night with tears still on his cheeks, but his heart lighter than it had been in years. The woman closed her door and leaned against it, her own eyes wet with emotion, feeling richer than she ever had. She had fed a hungry child once, without knowing that she was also feeding the future, planting a seed that would grow into something beautiful. And somewhere, in the quiet spaces between ordinary moments, kindness continued its journey, reminding us all that even the smallest act can echo across years, returning when we least expect it, carrying tears, gratitude, and the undeniable proof that love, once given, never truly disappears.